church was quiet. Only the sound of rain falling outside could be heard. People were sitting in long rows, dressed in black, their faces sad and pale. A white coffin stood at the front, covered with flowers. Inside the church, a young woman named Emily sat alone in the first row. Her eyes were red, and in her arms she held a small baby wrapped in a white blanket. The baby slept softly, not knowing that her father was gone forever. Emily looked at the coffin and whispered, "Goodbye, Michael." Her husband was gone. The man who had promised her love and safety forever was now lying silent inside that wooden box. The priest began to speak gentle words about peace and heaven, but Emily could not hear him. Her heart was heavy. Every second felt longer than the last. Then, suddenly, the heavy church doors opened with a loud sound. Everyone turned to look. A tall man in a black suit entered. His eyes were cold, and his steps were strong. He walked straight down the aisle toward Emily. The air in the church changed. People began whispering. He stopped near her and shouted, "You don't belong here." Emily looked up, confused. "What are you saying?" she asked softly. "This funeral is not for you," he said loudly. "You have no right to sit here." Everyone gasped. The priest tried to calm him down, but the man was full of anger. 2 guards came from the side and stood beside Emily. "Please," Emily begged. "He was my husband. Let me say goodbye," but no one helped her. Instead, the man pointed at the door. "Take her out, now." The guards pulled her up roughly. Her baby woke up and began to cry loudly. Emily tried to hold her close, but one of the guards pushed her toward the exit. "Stop. Please stop," she cried. "Why are you doing this?" The man shouted again, "Because you are not his real wife. You lied to all of us." The people inside the church began to whisper. Some covered their faces. Some shook their heads. Emily felt her world fall apart. She could not speak. Her voice was gone. Tears rolled down her face as she was dragged out of the church doors into the rain. Outside, the air was cold. The sky was dark. Her baby cried harder, and Emily stood helpless, soaking wet. For a few moments, she didn't move. She looked at the church doors closing behind her. Her husband was gone, and now, even his final goodbye was taken away from her. As she stood there, trying to calm her baby, a black luxury car stopped in front of her. The engine was silent, but the power of the car spoke for itself. The window slowly rolled down. Inside, a man with silver hair and sharp eyes looked at her. His voice was calm but deep. "Get in," he said. Emily took a step back. "Who are you?" she asked, frightened. The man looked at her baby and then at her face. "I was your husband's friend," he said. "We need to talk." Emily hesitated. Her hands were shaking. She didn't trust him, but something about his voice felt serious, almost protective. Before she could answer, the man added, "Your husband's death was not an accident." Emily froze. The rain fell harder. The man's words echoed in her mind. "What do you mean?" She whispered. The man looked at her with steady eyes and said, "Get in the car, Emily, if you want to know the truth. Come with me." Emily stood still, her heart beating fast. She looked at her crying baby, then at the car. Inside that car might be danger or the truth she needed. She took a deep breath, hugged her baby close, and slowly opened the car door as the car drove away into the rain. The camera could still see the church behind her, the place where she was dragged out in shame, and the place where her story truly began. The car moved quietly through the rainy streets. Emily sat in the back seat, holding her baby close. Her clothes were still wet from the storm, but she didn't care. Her mind was lost in memories. She looked out of the window and whispered to herself, how did everything change so fast? Only a year ago, her life had felt perfect. Emily grew up in a small town where dreams were bigger than the houses. Her mother worked in a bakery, and her father had left when she was 12. She learned early that life never gave her anything easily. After finishing school, she moved to the city, hoping to find work and a better future. But city life was cruel. Rent was high, food was expensive, and she had no friends. She finally found a job as a waitress in a coffee shop near the business district. That's where she met Michael. Michael was different from the people she usually served. He was polite, kind, and always had a gentle smile. Every morning, he sat by the window with his laptop, ordered black coffee, and left a generous tip. One day, when Emily accidentally spilled coffee on his sleeve, she panicked. But Michael only laughed and said, "Don't worry, it's just a shirt. Are you okay?" That was the first time someone cared about her feelings instead of shouting at her. Days turned into weeks, and their talks grew longer. Emily found herself laughing again. Michael told her about his love for architecture and his dream to build houses for poor families one day. Emily told him about her childhood and how she wanted a simple, happy home. Slowly, he fell in love. Michael's family, the Harringtons, were rich and powerful. They owned several companies and their name was respected everywhere. When Michael told them he wanted to marry Emily, their reaction was cold. Marry a waitress? His mother had said, "Do you even know her background?" But Michael didn't care. He told them, "I love her. That's all that matters." They had a small wedding with only a few friends. Emily wore a simple white dress she bought from a thrift shop. She didn't mind, it was the happiest day of her life. For a while, things were good. Michael rented a small apartment far from his family's mansion. They cooked together, laughed together, and soon Emily became pregnant. When their daughter Lily was born, Michael cried. He held the baby close and said, "You'll never feel alone, my little girl. I promise." But promises don't always last. Michael started working long hours. He said he was helping a friend named Mr. Anderson with a secret project. Emily didn't ask questions. She trusted him. Then, one night, everything changed. Michael left home for a business trip and kissed Emily goodbye. "I'll be back in 2 days," he said. He never returned. The next morning, police came to her door. They said his car went off the bridge. No body was found at first, only broken glass and a wallet. Later, they confirmed he was dead. Emily felt her world break into pieces. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. She would sit by the window every night, hoping it was just a mistake. Maybe he'd walk through the door again. Then came the shock. Michael's family didn't just ignore her. They blamed her. His mother told her coldly, "You brought bad luck to my son. You used him for money." Emily had no strength to fight back. She held her baby and cried. When she received the invitation to the funeral, she thought maybe they had forgiven her. But she was wrong. They only wanted to humiliate her. And now, sitting in the billionaire's car, her heart filled with questions. Who was Mr. Anderson really? What did he mean when he said your husband's death was not an accident? As the car stopped in front of a large mansion, Emily wiped her tears. The driver opened the door. Mr. Anderson looked at her with serious eyes. "Welcome, Emily," he said quietly. "You deserve to know the truth. But first you must be ready to hear things that may change everything you believe." Emily took a deep breath and stepped. Inside, the story of her past was painful, but the story waiting ahead would be darker than she could imagine. Emily stood inside the billionaire's mansion, her heart still heavy from what happened at the church. The marble floor shined under her wet shoes, and golden lights reflected off the tall glass walls. It felt like another world, rich, quiet, and cold. Mr. Anderson walked ahead of her, his voice calm and serious. "Sit down, Emily. You've been through enough." Emily sat carefully, still holding her baby, who was now asleep. The sound of thunder rolled outside, matching the storm inside her heart. After a long silence, Mr. Anderson spoke. "Michael trusted you," he said. "He told me everything about you, the woman who gave him hope when his own family turned their back." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "Then why did they hate me so much?" Mr. Anderson sighed. "Because you were real, they are not." He walked to a drawer, pulled out a small folder, and placed it on the table. Before Michael died, he found something dangerous, something that could destroy his family's empire. Emily looked at the folder. Her hands trembled. What was it? Anderson didn't answer directly. "He told me if anything happened to him, I should find you," he said. "She is the only one I trust." Those words broke her. She tried to hold her tears, but they fell freely. "Then why was I thrown out of the funeral?" she asked softly. Why did they call me a liar? Mr. Anderson turned to her. Because they want the world to forget you. Michael's family controls the media, the church, and even the police. They rewrote the story. Emily frowned. Rewrote. He nodded. They changed the marriage documents. On paper, you never existed as his wife. They bribed the lawyer and even the priest who married you. Emily shook her head in disbelief. That's not possible. We were married legally. We signed the papers together. Anderson looked at her kindly. Do you still have your copy? Her heart sank.
Then the papers were in a box back in her apartment? The one that was mysteriously broken into a few days ago?
Everything was gone. She realized now it wasn't a robbery. It was a cover-up. Before she could speak again, the doorbell rang. Anderson's bodyguard walked in and whispered something in his ear. Anderson's expression changed. They're watching you, he said quietly. Michael's brother sent men to find out where you went after the funeral. Emily felt cold fear run through her body. Why would they care? I have nothing. Anderson looked at her. You have everything. You have what they fear, the truth. He opened the folder. Inside were photographs, documents, and a small USB drive. Michael sent these to me a week before he died. He found evidence that the Harrington Company was hiding millions through fake charities. Emily stared at the papers, not fully understanding. Anderson continued. He wanted to expose them. Before he could, he received a threat. Told me someone close to him was betraying him. Emily's heart stopped. Someone close? Who? Anderson looked at her sadly. He didn't say the name, but he was sure that his death would not be an accident. The room fell silent. Emily felt her throat tighten. She thought of Michael's last call before he left for the trip. His voice had been calm but strange that night. He had said, "If anything happens, remember that I love you." She now understood what he meant. Anderson leaned forward. Listen, Emily, you're not safe. They will come after you. You must stay here until I find out more. Emily nodded slowly. I don't care about myself, she whispered. I just want my husband's name cleared. He died trying to do the right thing. Anderson gave her a small smile. And that's exactly why I'll help you. Outside, the rain finally stopped. The mansion lights flickered softly as if the storm had passed. But inside Emily's heart, a new one was forming, one made of courage and pain. She looked at the folder again. Somewhere inside it lay the secret Michael died for. And this time, Emily promised herself she wouldn't stop until the world knew the truth. The camera zooms in on her determined face. Asterisk the next morning. Sunlight touched the tall windows of the mansion. For the first time in days, Emily saw a clear sky. But peace was only outside. Inside her heart, a storm was still alive. Mr. Anderson entered the room with a cup of coffee. You didn't sleep much, did you? He asked gently. Emily shook her head. Every time I close my eyes, I see Michael. Keep thinking, what if he knew he was going to die? Anderson sighed and sat across from her. Michael was a brave man, but he made powerful enemies. He found something he shouldn't have. Emily looked at him with tired eyes. You said you'd show me everything. Please, I want to know what really happened. Anderson nodded and opened his laptop. On the screen, several documents and photographs appeared. Secret files. Financial records and letters written by Michael. He discovered that his family's company was not clean, Anderson said. They were using charity funds to hide illegal money. He was helping me collect evidence for a report that would expose them. Emily stared at the screen. So he wasn't just an architect? He was more than that. He had a sense of justice I admired. That's why I agreed to help him. Emily leaned closer. Then why didn't you stop him? You could have protected him. Anderson looked down. His face changed, guilt crossing his eyes. I tried. I told him to leave the country until things calmed down, but he refused. He said if I run, innocent people will keep suffering. Emily's heart tightened. That was the man she had loved, kind, stubborn, and full of courage. Anderson continued, the night he died, he called me. He said someone inside his family found out about the evidence. He sounded scared. Emily asked softly, did he tell you who it was? Anderson hesitated. He mentioned his brother, Ethan. He said Ethan was working with someone outside the family, someone rich, dangerous, and invisible. Emily frowned. Invisible? Anderson nodded. A businessman who hides behind other names. No photos, no public life. That. But his money moves everything. He clicked another file. Photo of a shadowy figure appeared, a man shaking hands with Ethan Harrington. His face was half hidden, but Emily felt a strange chill run down her spine. Who is he? She whispered. Anderson replied quietly. That's what Michael was trying to find out before he died. The room fell silent. The baby started to cry softly in her crib. Emily picked her up, rocking her gently, trying to calm both the child and her own heart. After a moment, she looked at Anderson. Why are you helping me? The question hung in the air. Anderson's eyes softened. Because I owe Michael. Many years ago, when I was a younger man, I made mistakes. Big ones. Part of something similar to what his family is doing now. Michael helped me walk away from that world. Saved my life in a way. Emily studied his face. For the first time, she saw a trace of sadness behind his calmness. And now, he said, it's my turn to protect what he left behind. You and your child. Emily didn't know what to say. Gratitude mixed with fear inside her chest. Just then, the phone on Anderson's desk rang sharply. He picked it up, listened for a few seconds, and his face turned serious. He ended the call and looked at Emily. They found us. Her eyes widened. Who? Ethan's men. They're outside the gate. Emily froze. What do they want? Anderson stood up quickly. It's scary or worse, but they won't get that chance. He pressed a button on the wall. Security cameras came to life, showing black cars parked outside the mansion. Men in suits were standing by them. Emily held her baby close, fear rising again. Anderson placed a hand on her shoulder. Listen carefully. Go upstairs to the back room. There's a small door behind the bookshelf. It leads to a safe passage. Wait there until I call you. Emily's voice trembled. What about you? He smiled faintly. I've dealt with people like them before. She wanted to argue, but his confidence stopped her. She hurried upstairs, her baby clutched to her chest. Her heart pounded as she locked the secret door behind her. Through the thin wall, she could hear muffled voices downstairs, angry, demanding. Then a single gunshot echoed through the mansion. Emily gasped. She pressed her baby closer, tears running down her cheeks. Was Anderson hurt? Was he alive? And in that moment of fear, she realized something deeper. She was now part of the same war that had taken Michael's life, and she couldn't turn back. The gunshot echoed through the mansion like thunder. For a few seconds, everything went silent. Emily's heart raced so fast it hurt. She held her baby tightly and whispered, "Please, let him be safe." She waited, listening. Footsteps moved downstairs, slow, heavy, and deliberate. Then she heard voices. One was cold and sharp. "Search every room," the man said. "She's here somewhere." Emily froze. She knew that voice. It was Ethan, Michael's brother. She pressed her back against the wall and tried to stay quiet. Her baby whimpered softly and she kissed her forehead, whispering, "Please don't cry." Downstairs, another door slammed open. Then a second gunshot, louder this time. Emily's hand shook. She didn't know if Anderson was alive or dead. Suddenly, the secret door behind her opened slightly. A strong hand pulled her inside another hidden room. She gasped. It was Mr. Anderson. His coat was torn. There was a scratch on his arm, but he was alive. "Are you okay?" Emily whispered. "I'm fine," he said quickly. "We have to leave now." He led her through a dark tunnel that ran beneath the mansion. The air was cold and smelled like earth. They walked for several minutes until they reached a small exit behind a line of trees. Outside, the night was still. Anderson's car was waiting. "Get in," he said, opening the back door. As they drove away, Emily looked back. The mansion lights were flashing red and blue. Police sirens were arriving. "Did they call the police?" she asked. Anderson shook his head. "No, I did. They'll find the men I trapped inside." Emily stared at him, amazed. "You planned this?" He nodded slightly. I had a feeling Ethan wouldn't let you go easily, so I prepared. They drove for a long time until they reached a small, quiet house near the countryside. Anderson parked the car and turned to Emily. "Now," he said, "it's time you hear everything." Inside the house, he took out the same folder from earlier and added a new paper to it. "This," he said, "is the missing part Michael sent me before he died. I couldn't open it before it needed a code." Emily frowned. "A code?" He nodded. "A password. And last night, when Ethan's men arrived, one of them said something, a word that unlocked it." He placed the paper in front of her. It was a printed letter from Michael. Emily's hands trembled as she read. The letter began with, "If you're reading this, it means I didn't make it. Emily, I'm sorry for everything I couldn't tell you. The truth is, my own family is destroying lives for money. They've stolen from charities, from hospitals, and from people who trusted them. I wanted to stop it. But someone inside helped them, someone I once trusted." Emily's tears fell as she continued reading. "Ethan is not the only one. He's being guided by a man named Victor Hale, a billionaire who hides his crimes behind business deals. I have all the proof on a USB drive. Anderson knows where to find it. Protect it, and protect our daughter. Never trust anyone who comes offering help unless they use the word hope." It means they're with Anderson. Emily looked up slowly. "Victor Hale," she whispered. "That's the name on the file you showed me." Anderson nodded. "Yes. He's more dangerous than you think. He's not just a businessman. He's the one who ordered Michael's death." Emily felt the air leave her chest. "So it wasn't just Ethan, it was him," Anderson said quietly. "Yes. And now they'll come for you too." Emily clenched her fists. "No, I won't run anymore. Michael died trying to bring out the truth. I'll finish what he started." Anderson looked at her proudly. "Then we'll do it together. I'll take the proof to the press. But you must stay hidden until I call." Emily shook her head. "I'm done hiding. They took everything from me, my husband, my peace, my name. I won't let them win again." Anderson gave her the USB drive, its small metal body shining under the lamp. "Then take this. The world will know soon." Emily took it with trembling hands. "For Michael," she whispered. The wind outside howled through the trees. The truth was now in her hands, but so was the danger. She knew that once she revealed it, her life would never be the same again. The camera slowly zoomed in on the USB in her palm, the one secret powerful enough to destroy a dynasty. Asterisk. Morning sunlight touched the small cottage where Emily sat, holding the USB drive. The world outside looked calm, but inside her heart, a battle was still burning. She had not slept. Every hour, she replayed Michael's last words in her mind. "If anything happens, protect the truth." Now that truth was in her hands. Mr. Anderson entered quietly. His face was pale. Exhaustion showed in every movement. "They're still looking for you," he said. "Ethan is desperate. He's calling it blackmail." Emily looked up. "Let him call it whatever he wants. I'm not afraid anymore." Anderson studied her for a moment. "You remind me of Michael. Brave, stubborn, and too honest for this world." She smiled sadly. Honesty cost him his life, but maybe it will save others. He sat down beside her and opened his laptop. "We can release the files to the media now, but once we do, there's no turning back. You'll be the face of the story, the widow they threw out of a church." Emily looked at her baby sleeping peacefully in the crib. "Then let them see me," she whispered. "Let them see the woman they tried to erase." Anderson nodded and began uploading the files. Each document, each photograph, was like a heartbeat from Michael's soul. It took only minutes for the truth to fly across the internet. Headlines appeared within an hour. Harrington Empire, exposed in charity fraud scandal. Architect's widow holds the key to corporate crimes. Reporters filled the streets. Cameras flashed. The world wanted to hear Emily's story. That evening, Anderson turned on the TV. Ethan Harrington was giving a statement, pretending to cry. "My brother's death still hurts me," he said. "These are false accusations made by a bitter woman."
Ow!
Emily felt anger rise inside her. He killed his own brother, she said quietly. And now he's acting like a saint. Anderson placed a hand on her shoulder. Justice takes time, but it always arrives. 2 days later, the police found new evidence. The same men who had attacked Anderson's mansion were arrested. Under pressure, one of them confessed. Ethan had paid them to destroy the USB drive and silence Emily forever. Within weeks, Ethan was arrested. The news cameras showed him being led away in handcuffs, his proud face finally broken. But Victor Hale, the hidden billionaire, was still missing. Emily and Anderson stood in front of Michael's grave on a gray morning. The church that once threw her out was now filled with flowers and people who whispered her name with respect. She placed a white rose on the grave. "You can rest now, Michael," she said softly. "They can't hurt anyone anymore." Anderson stood beside her. "You did what even I couldn't. You brought the truth into the light." Emily smiled faintly. "I didn't do it alone. You helped me stand when I was falling." He looked away, hiding his emotion. "Michael was right about you. You have the kind of courage this world needs." Weeks passed. The media moved on to other stories, but Emily's life was forever changed. With Anderson's help, she was part of Michael's charity funds, the real ones, to open a small foundation for widows and single mothers. Every morning, she visited the same coffee shop where she once met Michael. She would sit by the window with her baby, now learning to walk, and whisper stories about her father. Sometimes, strangers recognized her. They thanked her for being brave. She always replied with the same gentle smile, "Courage is born from love." One evening as the sun set, Anderson visited her again. He handed her a letter. "It's from the authorities," he said. "Victor Hale was found in another country. He's been arrested." Emily felt a wave of peace she hadn't known for years. "Then it's over," she whispered. Anderson smiled. "Yes, it's finally over." She looked at the sky glowing in orange light. The wind brushed her hair softly. For the first time since Michael's death, she felt free. She picked up her daughter and walked toward the old church on the hill. Inside, it was quiet, filled with candlelight. She placed a small photo of Michael on the altar and whispered, "They dragged me out once, but today, I walk back with my head high." The baby laughed, her innocent voice echoing through the empty hall. Emily smiled, tears shining in her eyes. "Sometimes," she said softly, "the poorest woman carries the richest heart." The camera slowly pulled back, showing the church. The sunset, and the woman who turned her pain into power.